And the fact that the way she was driving and what she was doing, she was treating me like she was a predator. I was being hunted by her on the road.
The next case we have is Avery Jane Schimpf versus Luther Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan is here and Ms. Schimpf is here. Let me swear y'all in. Do each of you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Mr. Sullivan, did you want to unmute so we can hear?
Okay. Sorry, I do. Okay.
Thank you. I'm pulling up the case right now. I've looked at the evidence that was submitted. Both of y'all tendered exhibits back in December. Ms. Schimpf, you are the plaintiff and you are requesting 3272 based on the accident damages and such. So if you would, as briefly as possible, explain to the court why you are asking for what you're asking for and how you came up with that figure.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. So I was bringing this amount to the court regarding a motor vehicle accident on April 7th, 2022, where I was not the at-fault party, but the defendant was. Originally, that amount was the summation of my almost $2,000 deductible in addition to lost wages due to my work as a DoorDasher, as a contractor or a independent worker with DoorDash. As well as the cost for having to Uber between Uber or use a Lyft ride sharing service between work, school, because I was a full-time student at St. Edward's University, as well as my internship. But in our pretrial hearing with Judge Holmes, she had said only to bring forward the costs of the damages to the vehicle, or I guess in this case, the deductible. And so the amount that I'm asking for comes out to the deductible of $1,999 for the accident where the defendant was considered at fault by both my insurance and the possibly also the police officer at the scene, as well as the amount of $139 that I paid towards cost of court and service.
Pardon me, just a minute. The cost of court are added on top. So we would do damages plus court costs in the event a litigant wins. That's so that if further court costs are expended, they continually get added in. So we just need the figure that is spent on the damages.
Of course, thank you. So that amount's going to be $1,999. Essentially
the damages.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And I looked at the picture of the damages to the car, and that you're just essentially trying to get the deductible that you had to pay because your insurance company paid for the rest.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. And I looked at the accident report that indicated how the accident occurred. Did you want to add anything to that? And I looked at your video. Did you want to add anything to that?
At this time, I don't believe so.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Mr. Sullivan, would you like to respond?
Yes, I would. Yeah, let me start off. I've been driving for 37 years, and I've never seen or experienced such reckless and derelict driving behavior as I did that day. Complete lack of care for oneself or anyone on the road that day. Someone could have been killed by the plaintiff based on her actions, and I want that to first be made very clear. The exhibits that I produced demonstrate her actions leading up to the accident scene.
I looked at the video, Mr. Sullivan, and
I submitted exhibit A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, all visual. I was told that they were received. It's not just video. There's pages of exhibits based on her driving behavior.
The pages that you drew?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I'm trying to explain here is there's a pattern of behavior that led up to this accident and this scene, and the fact that the way she was driving and what she was doing, she was treating me like she was a predator. I was being hunted by her on the road. Okay. All I was trying to do was get to my house. Okay. So in exhibit A, if we can bring it up,
Okay.
Your
I'm
Honor, can I
simply,
object to the exhibit, please? I would like to object to these exhibits because they were not included in discovery that I'm hearing of. The only ones that I heard of were two images that were emailed through discovery, as well as one itemized, I guess, quote from the auto company that gave him a visual quote just from the images. Nothing else was included in discovery that we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you not send her copies of these drawings, Mr. Sullivan?
these were just submitted yesterday.
Oh, okay. So we can't use them then if she hasn't had a chance to look them over. They're not even in the file. I don't even see them in the file, so we can't use
I
them.
was told that they were received.
Um, I don't have them. They may have been sent to the court, but they have not been processed.
I was
Okay.
told that they would be processed.
Well, I'm telling you, you can't get something processed and put in the case file by having submitted yesterday. It might have been received by the court, but that's not time for the clerks to get it sorted out and set to the case for trial the next day.
Regardless. Okay. Regardless.
That's
So, so,
wrong.
so I was at the intersection. I can explain everything. You don't need to see it visually. I was at the intersection of Stasny. I mean, if we could, is it possible we could postpone based on the fact that the exhibits haven't been submitted yet? I
I'd
think the
like to
exhibits
object
are
to that. We've had plenty of
very,
time.
very important.
We had a pretrial.
Ms. Shemp, you need to let him say something, and you can object when he's done, okay? But you can't interrupt him, all right? We can't do a continuance once the trial has begun, okay? We're going to proceed today, and Mr. Sullivan, you can tell me what you want me to hear, okay?
Okay, that's fine. I'll explain it all. It's
But just
visual is better, but I'll explain it. So I was at the south intersection, traveling south on South Congress Lane, at the intersection of Stasny Lane. At that intersection, there's a gas station on the southeast corner that I was going to potentially enter into to get gas. Once I realized where the entrance to that gas station was and the amount of traffic that was in the opposing lane, I re-entered out of the center lane and re-entered back into traffic into the far right lane. Okay. After that, the plaintiff came out of nowhere at a super high rate of speed and began swerving in and out of traffic. She entered into the center turn lane of the intersection of Little Texas Lane and South Congress, passing all drivers in both lanes in the center lane, re-entering the right lane, doing the same thing again at a high rate of speed. She was passing cars like they were standing still. I have no idea how fast she was going. The speed limit's 35. She must have been going 55, 60 miles an hour at least. She did the same thing again at the intersection of Circle S Road in Eberhart Lane, which there's also a light at that lane. She entered into the left turn lane, passed all traffic at a high rate of speed, entered back into the two lanes traveling south. She then did the exact same thing again after she passed over Circle S Road, Eberhart Lane, and again swerving through from the left to the right, back to the left, down the center lane for at least 40 to 50 feet at a high rate of speed until she came to a stop, until she then weaved her way through all this traffic down the center lane, again at a high rate of speed, all the way back into the far right lane where she came to rest at the front of all the other traffic, including myself. I was in the far right lane the entire time. Once I made that initial move to try to go into the gas station and realized I wasn't going to be able to get out of the gas station in a timely manner because I was low on gas, I just stayed in that far right lane and I proceeded to watch this unfold. And it was crazy, right? So I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what's going on here. I don't want anything to do with this person. Whatever's going on with them, hopefully it's over. I'm just going to continue to go where I need to go. So there were four cars in front of me. They all turned right onto William Cannon Road. I ended up behind her as I passed over William Cannon Road. As I approached her vehicle, she began brake checking me. She brake checked me 2 or 3 times consecutively, trying to cause an accident with me. I had to get away from her as best I could. So I passed her on the right. I passed her in the left lane. I went into the left lane to get away from her. And I tried to speed away from her to get away from her because she was trying to cause some kind of accident with me. In the process of doing that, she sped up after me and chased me down until I turned onto Ditmar Lane. She was right on top of me on Ditmar Lane. The video you see of Ditmar Lane, that's the video of Ditmar Lane. Ditmar Lane is a super narrow, windy road. She's got in, and it's a 1-lane road. Many accidents happen on this road all the time. I know people personally that had accidents on this road. It's super narrow. It's super windy. It has a blind curve. She got into the opposing lane on the blind curve and passed me coming into oncoming traffic. She could have caused a head-on collision. She could have killed me. She could have killed herself. She could have killed somebody else on the road that day. She passed me. She overtook me. And when we got to the intersection of Ditmar Lane and South First Street and the light turned green, she refused to move. She sat at the light and refused to move her vehicle. All I was trying to do was get home. That was the only thing I was trying to do. My house was on the other side of Ditmar. I live at the corner of Ditmar and Manchaca Road. And in my exhibit, what I pointed out is that there's now a bike lane on the right-hand side of Ditmar. And those bike lanes with the cones and the barrier are the width of a vehicle. I just saw, I was just driving down Ditmar the other day. Yesterday, I saw a Toyota SR5 full-size truck parked in the bike lane, not sticking out into the road. Okay. So I had plenty of room to get by her, which I did because she wasn't going to move her vehicle. And again, all I was trying to do was get home. So as I'm passing her on the right-hand side, I can see her looking in her mirror as she's getting ready to do something, and she crashes her car. She turns her car deliberately into me. Now, let me also state that there were 4 police officers there at the scene at the east corner, the north and southeast corners of Ditmar and South First Street. 4 police officers. They weren't there getting donuts, and they weren't there having lunch together at 8 p.m. at night. They were called by someone, and they weren't there for some other scene. They were already there. The plaintiff called the police, making a distress call, stating that she was the victim of road rage when she was the perpetrator of road rage, and she committed a scam. And that's what happened. My bumper was ripped from my vehicle. Okay. The entire cap, the bumper cover of my car was ripped off of my vehicle. If I did what she claimed in her version of the police report, my bumper would not have been ripped from my vehicle. If I had impacted her vehicle, my bumper would have been more pushed into my car, not ripped off of my vehicle. One of the officers had to pick up my bumper and put it physically in the back seat of my car. As soon as the accident happened, this is very important. As soon as the accident happened, I was surrounded by police immediately. Police just don't sit around waiting for accidents to happen. Again, she made the call. She knew what she was doing. This was premeditated. The police treated me with there was no objective nature to them at all. It was as if I was a criminal and she was a victim. I was interviewed by a single female police officer. She was interviewed by 3 male police officers, mind you. I was interviewed by 1 single female officer. When I asked the female officer why I couldn't speak to the other 3 male officers, she couldn't give me a legitimate answer. I said, I have a right to speak to them. She said, no, I can't let you speak to them. They're dealing with her right now, this and that, and gave me some other kind of BS answer. But I was like, no, I want to speak to them. And she wouldn't let me.
Objection, hearsay.
Let's just stick to what you tell us. We don't need to hear what other people told you.
I'm sorry, repeat the last part, Judge.
Let's just talk about what you know and not what other people told you. Okay.
What do you mean by what other people told me?
Well, you can't tell us what other people said because they're not here to be cross-examined.
Oh, as far as the police, that's fine. That's fair.
So what are you requesting in your counterclaim?
I'm simply requesting the damages that I submitted for the repair of my vehicle.
Okay, and that was $1,800.
Correct.
Okay.
And the video that you have,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly where she was passing me on Ditmar Lane.
So
The exact moment where she passed me. You can't see a car, and then all of a sudden there's headlights of a car, which you would never have been able to see if you were driving in that lane.
so is she the one with the headlights coming toward you?
No. It's just a representation. It's a representation of the road and the fact that there is a blind corner there.
Right.
It's a complete blind corner. And she
Mhm.
was driving in opposing traffic, passing me on that road.
Okay, I understand. All right. Okay. All right. Responses, Shim? Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, Your Honor, you're saying my name correctly, Schimpf.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I just tried to, my apologies for interrupting earlier. I guess kind of just to give a response to the testimony just now. There was no brake checking. Essentially, some of the directions that I did here, we were going southbound on South Congress, turned onto Ditmar. That's around Stastny. Actually, I'm trying to remember. It was Stastny or William Cannon. Sometime on South Congress, going south below the 71 is when the defendant started road raging with me. Like I had mentioned earlier, I was a door dasher at the time. I was a full-time college student and I did that in my off times. So I was familiar with the area and knew nearby that there was a police station. And as we had mentioned about the phone call to 911, that is correct. While I was driving, with Bluetooth, went ahead and hands-free made a phone call to 911 to get and spoke with an operator. And by the time we had gotten to that intersection is when there were police officers there, correct, that were ready at the scene. I can't account to like what number of vehicles that were there. All I can say is that happened at the scene of the accident, or that's where the accident had happened, was at Ditmar and South First. But yeah, brake checking didn't happen. There was no, I don't even really know how to respond to speeding at excessive speeds. Wasn't speeding, just trying to get us, same as he was saying, I was also just trying to get home. I was a full-time college student with an internship and another job. I just wanted to get home safely, and I was being chased down, which is what I had said to the operator over the phone call, that you could see in my evidence that was submitted for discovery in that video. The dash cam footage. I think trying to paint myself as the perpetrator and not the victim is really misguided, especially when you don't really catch it because it cuts out in the video. The entire nature of it. When there was the collision, I was scared and I was still on the phone on speaker with the 911 operator. But the defendant had actually started picking up debris from the accident. He opened up my car door, my passenger side car door in the front, after he had exited his vehicle from the
Objection,
accident.
Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay, speculation. That did not happen.
It's not hearsay if I'm speaking on my own experience.
And it's not speculation. She's presenting oral testimony. All right, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. And so he opened up my door and started screaming at me and throwing in debris from the accident, specifically the plastic covers that go on the rims, that was on the rim of my right front tire on my vehicle. And that's why in the end of the video, you can hear right before it cuts out, it doesn't catch the whole thing. I didn't have the original, it's a micro SD card. I don't have the original footage from it. It cuts out and it says, I say, get. You can hear like his voice getting louder as he's opening the car door, the vehicle, the front passenger side door. And I say, get, as in, and it cuts out. And that's where I'm trying to say, like, get away from me, like, get out. Cause he had opened the door to my vehicle and started throwing in debris from the accident. So I guess what I'm trying to say is in addition, I guess, to, the video evidence, and then my testimony of I was essentially being chased down, trying to go home, and was caught in this like road rage driving. I've never gotten a citation, never gotten a ticket. This is like the first like major accident I've ever been in, anything like that. Yeah, I think trying to paint me as the perpetrator of this is grossly like misguided, especially after the events exhibited by the defense in terms of throwing debris at me from the accident.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Sullivan?
None of that happened. None of that happened. I stepped out of my vehicle, and upon stepping out of my vehicle, I was surrounded by police. So that's none of that happened.
Okay. All right. Jim, you get the last word. Is the plaintiff in your case? Last word on the damages you're requesting of $1,199 plus court costs.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. What are you asking me?
You get the last word on your request for your deductible.
Oh, no, that was it. Just the deductible, and then of course the court cost, Your Honor, the $1,999. And it's also outlined in my as well as part of discovery that was submitted to the court, my coverage with Progressive at the time of the accident.
Okay. And Mr. Sullivan, you get the last word on your request for $1,800.
I don't have any additional request. That's substantial enough to repair the vehicle.
Okay. All right. Well, first I want to thank both of the parties for appearing in court today. And
is my witness going to get a chance to speak?
do you want to call a witness?
Well, I have a witness. That's yeah.
Okay.
That's
Go ahead.
That's why they're here.
Excuse me, Your Honor. May I ask? Is there a point where I would be able to ask the? I'm not. This is my first time ever in court. Is there a time I'd be able to ask the defendant questions?
What questions did you want to ask?
Really just about the cost of his vehicle. I believe it was something. It was a different amount that was shown in the quote from that he submitted for discovery. I guess I was going to ask if that this new amount that he's bringing forward, the $1,800, if this is a new quote from a different auto repair shop, or if he's just okay in accepting that from the entire quote that was given to him from the auto repair shop that he sent me over discovery.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan, we've got the estimate for damage on your car from Qualitech Auto Body.
Correct. There were two estimates. I chose the lower of the two.
Where was the other estimate?
It was submitted.
Okay.
Most companies I reached out to, because of the age of the vehicle, they just simply don't want to work on the vehicle. So that's why I had to choose that. But I did submit two, but that was the one that was the lowest.
Which one are you talking about, Ms. Shim? Yeah.
The only one that's in front of me is the one that you originally were talking about for just over $2,900 from Qualitech Auto Body. I was also going to ask him a question about that quote as well. If he'd be willing to answer, yeah.
Okay, because it says 29, but he's asking for 1,800, which is less than what shown exactly on the quote. Let him call his witness, okay? If Mr. Lee is here, would you want him to testify?
Yes, I would.
Okay, Mr. Lee, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Okay,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we sure can. Go ahead.
I'm a handyman in that neighborhood, and I happened to be driving and on Congress turning into Ditmore that day, and I witnessed this subcompact little white car turning into Ditmar, first acting erratically in the middle lane, and then turning into Ditmar into oncoming traffic, which I ended up turning. And I was going to Ditmar there's a gas station on the corner of Ditmar and Manchek where I was heading, where there's a car wash. And I witnessed her, whoever that was in this car, the driving was acting erratically. And then I saw the police, some of the police stuff, but I was just driving by. And then I went to the gas station and I was there getting a car wash and I got something else. And that's where Mr. Sullivan had pulled in. Must have been like, I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes after the situation there happened. And because I saw him as I was driving by in his car and I asked him what had happened. And I said, yeah, I witnessed this woman, whoever that was, acting very erratic and driving erratic. I witnessed I can only attest to witnessing her driving in the middle lane on Congress and then driving on oncoming traffics on Ditmar. And then the next time I saw them, they were pulled over.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it. I happened to see Mr. Sullivan and I talked. We exchanged information. He called me. I can't believe he called me a bunch, and I remember the incident because we talked about it that day. And anyway.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Shim?
Yeah, so I wanted to go ahead and motion to dismiss the witness because there was no mention of a witness in the police report. As you know, the defendant was saying there were essentially four police vehicles that he was saying, and nowhere in the police report was there mention of a witness or a passenger. Yeah, that's where I wanted to go with that.
Well, he didn't say he saw the accident.
Oh, I'm sorry. He saw. I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand. Can the witness re-summarize what he had said?
He said he saw you driving erratically. He was driving on Congress, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Can I ask the
And I was
defendant?
turning onto Didmar, and that's where I was behind that stuff, and that's where I witnessed the behavior. And I didn't see any more behavior like that. But then I saw that there was the incident with the police as I drove by on Ditmar.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, I went on to get a car wash and stay at that gas station probably for almost 30 minutes doing stuff. And Mr. Sullivan came up and we ended up talking about it. And he explained he was very riled up. He felt, he seemed like he was pretty riled up from what had happened and felt like he was malicious. And he was saying that she was acting erratically. And
Well, let's
I
just
can
talk about
attest to
what
what he
you
said.
saw, Mr. Lee. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. I'm just telling you what happened.
I appreciate it.
Your Honor, I would like to ask the witness, to Lee, sorry, I only see your first name. So to the witness Lee, did you ever know or did you ever meet the defendant Luther Sullivan before this?
No, I met him that day.
So can I ask you, I just looked at your LinkedIn profile from your name that was provided as a witness in the discovery, and you worked at Yellowstone Local. That's also the same company that Luther Sullivan used to work at, his LinkedIn page as well. So you two used to be coworkers, and now you're sitting here saying that you've never met.
You're not listening. That was after we met each other after that day we met, and I worked for that company after. Don't. That's yes.
I just think it doesn't really sound plausible that you just happened to work together. Doesn't really sound.
Well, you don't know that I'm a handyman in that area. I am a handyman in that area. That's what I do for a living. I worked briefly for Yellowstone for like
I'm not
30
denying
days.
I'm not denying your experience, your work experience.
Ms. Shim, that's it.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all right.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Sullivan, for this witness?
No.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lee. We appreciate your testimony.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
hearing in court. You have a very good day. Thank you.
Your Honor, I don't believe he was ever sworn in. Oh, he did. Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Sullivan?
Again, I'd just like to reemphasize the fact that my bumper was ripped off of my vehicle. Okay, in the accident, there's no way. Her version of events were that I came around her and turned my vehicle into her vehicle. Why would I do that if I was trying to drive home on Ditmar Lane and go straight? I could have gotten in the left turn lane and taken a left turn if I was trying to turn left. She's claiming I drove up onto a curb and turn my vehicle into her. It makes absolutely no sense. And if I actually did do that, think about it. If I actually did do that, my bumper would not have been ripped off the front of my vehicle. You know, the witness saw my vehicle and saw my bumper in the back seat of my car. So, I mean, you know, it's just physics. It's a law of physics. You can't have your bumper ripped off your vehicle if you're impacting another car, but you can from the sheer force of another vehicle impacting your vehicle and ripping your bumper off your car. And again, I've never been a victim of this kind of thing. This is a common thing. People run scams like this all the time. The plaintiff was desperate for money. They admitted as much in the pretrial motions that they were trying to, you know, she was basically trying to extract money from me from numerous different ways. Judge Holmes denied them all. This is a scam in the highest order. And if at the very least the case should be dismissed, and at the very least the case should be dismissed, and at most you should side for the counter plaintiff and defendant.
Okay. All right. You don't have any more witnesses to call, Mr. Sullivan, or anything?
No, I do not.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Shim?
Yeah, so I would like to ask for the defendant or the counter plaintiff, which photos did you use for your photo estimate with Qualitech Auto Body that they used to give you your estimate?
I sent them photos of the vehicle, the same photos that were submitted to the court.
Okay.
So they saw the damage to the bumper, they saw the damage to the front left fender, and that's what they assessed the damages would cost to replace. It's an older vehicle. It's a Lexus. It's not a cheap vehicle. These are not cheap parts.
I understand. I guess like as a response to that, what I was going to say, there were only 2 images of the vehicle that were submitted in the discovery that you're saying that you provided to Autotech or Qualitech Auto Body for the photo estimate. There were no way in those 2 images identifiable features of the vehicle, such as like a vehicle identification number, a VIN, or a license plate that would have said that this is your vehicle, this is the vehicle that was involved in the accident.
That was all submitted to them. The VIN was all submitted.
But that's not what you said when I asked you a few seconds ago. So that's why you said that you only submitted the images that were submitted to me.
No, that's not correct. Make, model, year, VIN number, photos.
But the photos that you included didn't include a license plate or a VIN number. So versus my photos did, and you can clearly see that my VIN from the police accident, as well as from my
what is my license plate having to do with it? The VIN was submitted to Qualitech. They took the VIN number. I sent them everything they asked for. They might have even asked for my my plate number, and I gave it to them. I gave them the VIN, my plate number, the make, model, year of the vehicle. They got all the information, and that's what they came up with.
Your Honor, what I'm trying to come to the conclusion, or trying to say, is that he may have gotten an auto quote from a repair quote from an auto body shop with the image he said as the images that he had submitted to discovery, which were only 2. And even though he included his license plate and VIN number and gave those information to the technicians or whoever at the repair shop, there's no way that we can tell just from those images that is his vehicle that he's talking about, since there's no license plate, there's no Lexus logo, there's no VIN number that are in those images to know for certain that those images that were submitted were of that vehicle, even though he provided the VIN and the make and the model all to the body shop when he submitted for a repair quote. So I'd like to ask for that. I'd like that to be taken into consideration in the judgment.
Okay. All right. Okay, is everybody finished admitting everything that they wanted to admit? Okay, well, I want to thank the parties for appearing in court today and presenting your evidence. As far as the plaintiff's request for the 1999 as a deductible, I find that she has established an action for 1999. As far as the counter plaintiff has requested the amount of $1,800, I find that the counter Plaintiff has not established a cause of action for $1,800. We will enter a judgment accordingly. Each party will be entitled to file a motion for new trial at least 15 days, and there's at least 22 days that each party has the right to appeal. I want to thank you for presenting your information and wish you all a very nice afternoon. Thank you for appearing, and y'all take care. We'll send you the judgments shortly.
Thank you, Your Honor.